So basically, today's AME is about exploring interoperability and omni-chain capability with Dojima network. Dojima network is an omni-chain layer one. It allows you to integrate the entire Web3 ecosystem into one more and allows developers build an application for a whole different level. We have omni-chain voting, we have omni-chain social networks, we have omni-chain healthcare, prediction markets, identity verification, insurance platforms, all with Dojima Net. So without further ado, I'd hand the mic over to Shubham to introduce themselves, post which we'll also introduce Quill Audits. So Shubham, please go for it. Thank you so much for joining us, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us. So we at Dojima Network is trying to work on the pain points, which is currently the interoperability of the blockchains. So blockchains in itself is really good tech, but if we aren't able to interact with each other and, seamlessly go from one place to other, it's a very painful thing for developers as well as the users. So at Dojima Network, we are trying to unify the blockchain space into a single point where user can enter to a single point and could, teleport to any other blockchain or dimension, the user wants. So yes, we are trying to do that particular problem aspect.
That's great, Shubham. And what's your role at Dojima?
So I'm working as a DevRel engineer at the Dojima Network currently, and so trying to bring developers and make Dojima Network more accessible to the point of view of the developers' point of view. So I'm working on that aspect, and also, realizing what users really want, because at the end of the day, whatever we are building is for the users. If users are not using that, then it's of no use. So that's what my basically role is.
Got it. Thanks for the introduction. This is Santo. I'm a product manager at Quill Audits. We're a Web3 security organization. For all of those who joined the space and don't know much about us, our aim is to make Web3 more secure with our suite of products that are actually infra products for security. And we also help with the manual auditing of smart contracts. So thank you so much for agreeing to do this, Shubham, and thank you to Dojima Network for allowing this Twitter space to happen. So as I was going through what Dojima does and from what you've mentioned, from my understanding, Dojima Network is a layer one, correct?
Yes.
Got it. So we already have a lot of layer one solutions, and now everyone is moving towards L2s, roll-ups and everything. So why do we need another L1?
Basically, every blockchain has three core main pillars, on which a blockchain is basically built. The blockchain functionality should be scalable, it should be secure, and the, transaction fees should be very less and it should be fast. But not even a single blockchain up till now has, perfectly achieved all the three core pillars. So, they are trying, but they aren't, able to achieve it. And the thing is, they won't be able to, because making it to the extreme perfection is impossible. So what generally layer one blockchains or layer two blockchains even do is they compromise on one pillar and focus on two pillars. So it's good, for a particular project that wants only, their priority is if they want to be scalable and they want their transaction fees to be less. So they could choose a blockchain which is scalable and is fast and transaction speed is low. But what about the security issue? It won't be secure. If it's secure, then it's not scalable. So projects need to compromise on a particular thing due to this. So what if we can build a layer one solution that is different from every other layer one solution? It's not just a similar, the EVM compatible blockchain or non-EVM compatible blockchain. It unifies all the blockchains. So it's a unification of all the blockchains where from a single point you can enter and exit to any blockchain, whether it's Ethereum, whether it's layer 2 Polygon or Optimism or non-EVM blockchains like Solana or Polkadot. So that's what we are building at Dojima.
Understood. So that's, if I'm not wrong, that's omni-channel, right?
Yes.
And what does interoperability mean for those of us who joined and might be confused? And what's the difference between interoperability and being omni-channel?
So interoperability, you can say that your ability to go from one blockchain to other, not only just blockchain, from one position to other position in real world, if we say, without any barriers. So that is interoperability. Like if you go from India to Dubai, you are interoperable from India to Dubai. So that is something interoperability means. So in blockchain space, interoperability is very much difficult, as each blockchain has its own consensus layer and its architecture and different kinds of functionalities that contradict each other. So that's why interoperability is a very complex thing. But what Omni-Chain basically does is, a chain which is connected to each and every other chain, and it is a single point of entry. So if a user, let's suppose he wanna stake his assets, which is currently hodling in the Ethereum blockchain, to, as we seen 10 days, 12 days back, Solana meme coin frenzy thing happened. So what if he wanted to stake there and get the meme coins? So, he won't be able to, because he has his assets, but it is on Ethereum blockchain. So what he does, he sits idle and misses the opportunity. But by using Dojima chain, he could transfer his assets from Ethereum to Solana and stake it. And whenever he wants, he could bring back those assets to the Ethereum blockchain. So that's what Omni-Chain, really means.
Understood. So let's focus on the interoperability part first. I think there are already certain solutions offering interoperability and cross-chain solutions. So as you already mentioned that each blockchain has 3 pillars. So how is Dojima different from other solutions? Do they not follow the 3 pillars? Is there some security gap there? Or what makes Dojima unique in sense of being interoperable? And because such solutions already exist, right? So what's the mode that we're looking at here?
So Dojima network is different from others as in sense because there are very few protocols and projects that are working on this interoperability issue. So firstly, there are very, very, very few players. So even in them, most of them are EVM to EVM compatible blockchains interoperability. So, because EVM is a standard, we can say it has been set in 2015. But now when non-EVM blockchains we talk about, so non-EVM blockchains, we generally see people are not very much interested or, they are not into that working. So EVM to non-EVM interoperability is something that, 1 or 2 projects are currently working. That's it. But non-EVM to non-EVM is really hard to achieve, and as far as I know, no project other than us is working on this particular EVM, non-EVM to non-EVM interoperability. So that is something we are trying to achieve and be the, different from all other interoperable projects and, peers that are working alongside us in the improvement of the interoperability issue.
So just to make sure, is non-EVM to non-EVM something that you achieved already, or is this something that you're working towards?
So on testnet, it has been achieved, but testing is going on because if something is really new, so you have to test it thoroughly. So on testnet, we can say on paper or on testnet it is done, but until and unless the product is in the market and people test it, because the best bug hunters are the users, because they find something that you haven't even thought in your dreams. So that is something we are currently working on.
Are there any unique smart contract functionalities or programming language that are supported on Dojima? Like you already mentioned that you also help with non-EVM to non-EVM. So are you also working on Solidity, which is mostly for EVM, or how are you doing this? Because that also poses a question for all the developers out there looking to build on Dojima.
Yes. So Dojima network is fully EVM compatible. That means, any developer working on any EVM compatible blockchain would feel at home working on Dojima network. We support the Solidity programming language because more than 80% of developers works on EVM compatible blockchains and, are familiar with Solidity. So it is a go-to thing for any developer. If you talk about unique smart contracts functionalities, so we have the interoperable inbound and outbound state sender, functionality that actually makes the interoperability on Dojima network possible. through the help of Hermes chain. So that is something we are the first to do. And programming language you have to build for the developers so that developers could build for the users. So we have kept that in mind.
That sounds interesting. Can you explain on the state changes that you just mentioned on these?
So
and one more thing, sorry to interrupt, but like one more thing would like to understand is that there is a Dojima network, there's a Dojima chain, and there's a Hermes chain, right? So all three of these are different, or like they are the same. And I mean, how they are working together if they are like different. So would be great if you can explain that also while we're talking about the state changes.
If we talk about state changes, so firstly I'll answer your second question. So state changes will be easy to explain.
Sure.
So if you talk about the Dojima network, so Dojima network comprises of two chains, that is Dojima chain and Hermes chain. So basically what Dojima chain is, it is a layer 1 blockchain, which is an entry point for all the users, developers interacting with all other blockchains. So if you are at Dojima network, you can interact with any other blockchain that, we provide the interaction. Now, when we talk about the Hermes chain, so Hermes chain acts as a bridge between the Dojima chain and the other blockchain. So if we look at the Hermes chain through an example, you can say that Hermes chain is the communication person between Dojima chain and every other blockchain. So that is how Hermes chain and Dojima chain is interlinked. So if we talk about how it will work, like the state changes thing. So, imagine if you, like I have given the example, if you have assets on Ethereum, so, you want to transfer it to Solana for some staking thing and getting the rewards. So what you can do is you can go to Dojima chain and you can make a request to transfer the assets from Ethereum to Solana on the same address that you have on the Dojima chain. So what happens is, there is a message sending that happens through the Hermes chain on the Ethereum mainnet that, you want to transfer those assets to Dojima chain. So that assets got locked on Ethereum chain, and the same assets or the wrapped version of the assets are unlocked on the Dojima chain. Now, the second message happens that you want to transfer those tokens from Dojima chain to Solana. So now that tokens or wrapped versions are locked on the Dojima chain, and now on Solana chain, the assets are unlocked. And now you can, from that address, you can stake. So the state changes happens in between. When you send the message, so it is a state change. When the assets are locked, it is a state change. When assets are unlocked, it is a state change, which happens on layer 1 blockchains, but due to Hermes chain sending the messages. So that is how, it is interlinked, and you can transfer and, have the assets on different blockchains through just a single point.
That's interesting. But now where does Dojima network come in? Is it like the whole thing that you're calling Dojima network, or is this something separate? So what?
No, Dojima network, you can say, is a unipoint of Dojima chain and Hermes chain. Collectively we say, so because Dojima chain and Hermes chain works simultaneously with each other to provide all the interoperability functionality. So if we want to talk about both the things, because both are interconnected to each other. So if you talk about Dojima chain and Hermes chain interaction, so that is Dojima network.
Got it. And I also saw that you guys have a native token, as any L1 does. So would love for you to just, share with maybe our attendees and the participants in this space that what are the capabilities of the token, what are the features. And I mean, I'm pretty sure the token must be used for developers as well as for trading. So would be, great if you can maybe explore or expand more on that.
Yeah, so the native token that we have on Dojima network is called Dodge. So basically Dodge is used for as any other blockchain, for the payment of the transaction fees, because, for running a blockchain, you have to pay the fees on every transaction. So that is the main point. Also, if we talk about the governance thing, so we plan to have governance thing using Dodge tokens, and every other project that will be built for swapping or, like a swap protocol or lending, borrowing platform. So everywhere, Doge token will be the main token which will be used. And every time if you want to do any transaction on Dojima, so Doge token will be the only token that would be used ultimately. So that is the main utility.
I understand. So that's pretty interesting, the utility of the token. But in terms of the utility of the eventual use cases for Dojima as a complete organization, I was checking your website and I saw that omni-channel healthcare, omni-channel decentralized identities. I mean, I saw a lot of stuff going on in healthcare, governance, I think a lot of use cases. So which use cases do you feel are the most important? Which use cases have you seen some traction on? Or maybe people are actually, using Doji or might use Dojima you had interest on, and which do you personally feel could be really revolutionary in terms of using Dojima in those use cases?
So, as you mentioned, it was a really good point that, omni-chain identity are being used. So it is one of the most important use cases and industries if we talk about omni-chain capability of any blockchain. So why? Because, if I have an identity on a particular blockchain and I want to transfer that same thing, that I am the same person, how would I prove that to other blockchain? So, it is one of the most pressing problems. So if identity management is omni-chain, I have one identity on Ethereum, it is the same on Dojima, it is the same on Solana, it is the same on each and every blockchain. So that is one of the most important thing. Another thing is, data transferability or data sharing. So if I have some assets on Ethereum, or if I send a message or anything on Ethereum, how would I get it on Dojima? So it means that if I enter on Dojima and make a wallet on Dojima, I am a new person. It basically means this same thing. But what if I have a backlog of all the datas? Even these scammers do this thing because on each blockchain their backlog and back traces are not there, so they are able to do it. But what if we have the addresses backlogs that this address was identified as a fraudster or a scammer, and all the backlogs are transferred to each and every blockchain. So if that address interacts or builds something, we would know in advance that this is some fishy stuff going on, and we could be able to prevent from that. That is something main thing. Also, if we talk about the metaverse thing, so what if I buy a cool new avatar jacket on, let's say, Ethereum network, and I want to show it off to my friends which are on the Solana, a different metaverse game or project. So what should I do? I should buy a new jacket to show off on the Solana. So that is, double spending also, we can say. And why should I do that? If I bought on one blockchain, I should be able to transfer it. In real world, if we say, if I bought a jacket in, Ahmedabad, and I want to go to Mumbai, so I have to buy one more jacket in Mumbai. So this is the same thing, when it happens. But it should be like, if I buy in Ahmedabad or Bangalore, I should be able to carry it with myself anywhere, Mumbai or Delhi or anywhere I want. That is something, people experience the problem. Also, if we look at the decentralized space, so decentralized finance space, so it is one of the most important thing, because I personally believe that, for any blockchain to foster, its DeFi should foster first hand before anything should foster on that blockchain. If DeFi is not fostering on a blockchain, that that blockchain will eventually die someday. I believe that.
Got it. No, makes sense, because since most of the TVL is with a lot of these DeFi applications, so maximum traction in terms of investor movement we also see in decentralized finance space with different applications with different trading pairs. So very, very important use case. I truly believe. So I think one of the buzzwords that we see nowadays in Web3, if you see, the biggest of events, they will be around ZK, RWAs, and you can also see the integration and the amalgamation of AI plus, blockchain. And these are all cutting edge technologies alongside omni-channel and interoperability also. So do you guys also plan to venture into some of these areas, and maybe what sort of support are you providing?
Yeah, so if you talk about AI, it's all over the bus, after blockchain, alongside blockchain, if you hear anything in tech is AI only. So yeah, I mean, AI will play a crucial part, not just for us, but for the overall blockchain space, as I believe, because, every tech has some utilities and capabilities that help other tech to enhance and grow. So AI is something that will help blockchain, and blockchain is something that will help AI. So one of the things that AI can do is, as we are seeing, some projects are working on the on-chain training of the ML models, AI models, you can say. So
Yeah.
on-chain training is a very good thing because it is decentralized. So it is nearly biased free, because we many times see that any model in AI is very biased, and because overfitting happens after training a certain point of time. So what happens is, if the training is decentralized, so each machine trains a different model, and then the model is combined together to give the output. So it is nearly biased free. But if we talk about training an on-chain model on Ethereum blockchain, it would be quite expensive. I mean, it would be like, no one will be able to bear that pain of spending so much of amount of money on training that ML model. So that means Ethereum won't have any AI capability anytime. So that means that only. But what if the blockchains which have very low transaction fees in training the ML models, we can train the models on that blockchain, and the models could be imported, or just the results could be imported to the Ethereum blockchain. So that thing could bring the AI capability to Ethereum and its user base without even spending a dime. So that is something, interoperability will bring to AI to other applications. And we all know what AI can do, so no need to explain what its capability and what it really means for the blockchain space. So, I will leave at that point. If we talk about zero knowledge, so it is very much important, because as blockchain's motto is, transferability, it's really good. But, when we see the current scenario, it's a bit disadvantageous also, because if I know which wallet or which person holds how much amount of money, or what he is doing, what he is holding, what he is up to, so I can, track his all the details, and I could just wait for a single moment which I can, attack him. So, big wallets which get hacked, or the protocols which get hacked, are the, result of this, because hackers pertain to a single point where they can just infect the protocol and get away with all the money. So zero knowledge, what it will do, like if I transfer my assets from Dojima to Solana blockchain, the hacker would know, okay, I am transferring 10 Sol to Solana. But what if we use zero knowledge, and my address got hidden? So it's like, some particular person transferred 10 Dodge to some particular address. So the, intersection of the things will get abstracted away. Only the essential information will be registered on blockchain, and we could really suppress what the hacking thing is happening with the blockchain, because it is the most thing now. If we see bull run started, and many scammers and many advertisements of getting 1000x and 10,000x have been popped up. So that is something people target. So that is something zero knowledge brings to the table. The privacy it allows for all the blockchains. Also, if we talk about the privacy in the interchain transactions, that is more important than in infra. If we talk about the blockchain transactions that is happening inside a single blockchain, so that is something really important. Also, real world assets is like the new narrative. If I say, all the people who have bought or sold a land would know how painful it is for the thing. And also, if I have, let's say, $100 and I want to own a piece of something that is worth $1 million, I can't have it. But, let's say if I fractionalize the product $1 million into such smaller parts that one part costs like $10. So I could buy 10 parts and, I can sell it anytime. So that is what RWA as an overview thing. So, we are in work with the RWA currently. Some projects we are, working with who are working in this particular niche RWA thing. And, RWA will become a really good aspect of blockchain use case if we look at 5 to 10 years timeline.
That's very interesting. Thank you for the insights. I'm pretty sure all the people in our space would actually absorb that information that you just shared with them. With that, I think we're down to our final two questions due to the paucity of time. The first being that in Web3, since its initiation, the one thing that we've seen that is still not gone away and will probably never go away, since it is a key characteristic of Web3's collaboration, and that comes with community. So, obviously, this EMA is also an initiative to propel your community. But as the development engineer at Dojima, I would like to ask you, what is Dojima doing in terms of community initiatives and fostering, a very collaborative community to, push the envelope for, the growth of Web3 and having more people build on Dojima?
Recently, we did meetups in different cities. So we are trying to reach to people who really want to build and are interested in this space. Also, we are providing the tutorials or demos to developers who really want to build. Also, we are working on something like giving a tutorial for the normal users, because at the end of the day, it's the users who will bring the hype and all the traction that we need, that blockchain actually needs, because mass adoption is the only thing that will actually propel blockchain into something else. Because till people want it, nobody cares about what are you building or, however good the thing is. Also, if we talk about on the community part, we are doing the AMAs with good companies like you. So that is also something we are doing regularly. And, we are in collaboration with IIT-BHU. One hackathon is also ongoing it is. So that is something we are regularly organizing hackathons to onboard more and more developers and projects that could help us and the overall blockchain space to grow, because this space is not for a single person. This space is for everyone. And if we think others as competitors, it will only, undermine the capability of, what we are trying to achieve. Because if we look at the vision of 5 to 10 years or 50 years, if we talk about, so it's not about, it's for everyone. I mean, everyone will have a good share of everything, whether you think or not. So, there are no competitors for anyone in this space, I believe. We are all on the same boat, just sitting on different chairs on a board. So that's what, we at Dojima believes.
No, that's pretty interesting. And obviously, thank you so much for doing this case with us. I do believe that, as you mentioned, there is no you or me in Web3, and it's no zero-sum game. So we are all here to, push the envelope in that sense, have more people in this ecosystem. And with that, I would just like to come to our final questions. Wherein I would just like to ask you about what your roadmap is. What are some of the milestones that you feel Dojima should be proud of, the community should be proud of, and what are you looking the most forward to in your roadmap?
So recently we launched our StageNet. So StageNet was a very big milestone for us, because when you launch your testnet, it's a good feeling, because you open your doors for all the developers and users to test it. And when you are in the final stages, you launch your StageNet, it's a one step ahead of testnet, but one step behind of mainnet. So, when you took that step, it's always special. So that is something, we are really happy and proud of. So we are really close to the mainnet launch, we are working, day and nights to achieve that as fast as possible, because to bring the capability of omni-chain capability to each and every project and user, it's something, we have as a vision. So mainnet is on the brink of the edge, it could happen any time. So we are really, excited for that thing. Also, we are working with the onboarding of more and more developers. So we are building, more detailed and, comprehensive documentation for the developers to, build interoperable projects so that, users could use it, and at the end, we want the users to benefit and, grow as a community. So that is something we are, really excited and looking forward.
That's very interesting. I think with that, we've come to the end of this very interesting AMA. Thank you so much, Shubham, and thank you to Dojima Network, to Junaid, for organizing this wonderful AMA. I'm sure all of you had a lot of insights about interoperability, omni-channel, and RWAs and ZK and AI, and all the revolutionary technology that is being built by an organization that is actually trying to revolutionize how we do things in Web3 currently. So thank you so much to everyone who joined the space, for patiently being there. So thank you all for joining, and see you soon. GNJ.